It's that time of year again. March. Maybe your days of March hayrides and March bobbing for apples are behind you, but you're never too old to celebrate the season at home. No better time than now to take a day off, crack open an IPA, sit in your favorite office chair and pirate Tatsuro the Iron Man for the 43rd time. If you're looking to enjoy something eerie and different this March, your boy Chaz has got a recommendation for you. Something else to drink. You're pouring liquid tire with a twist of orange into your body. Maybe try a water or a sports drink for a change. Stay hydrated, stay healthy. I also recommend World of Horror. World of Horror is currently being developed, written, and illustrated by the lone
Piston.
a tooth man by day, and by night, also a tooth man, a Polish horror fan and all-around real one. I commend
Piston.
unwillingly staring at this for hours on end as a side hustle. Homeboy should be proud. As a well-rounded artist and programmer, he's made a pretty hot product. Yet the time I've spent so far with the early access release wouldn't be the first time the man's made my jaw drop. As a degenerate and occasional patron of the Green Clover website, I know. I remember more than once seeing some intriguing screenies on the amateur game development thread. I was impressed. Junji Ito-style horror collages mixed with that aesthetic 1980s-era Japan we keep pretending existed. Perhaps the most bone-chilling part was the artist's heavy use of the MS Paint pencil tool. All this art? Assets for an RPG game. My early onset dementia pretty much guaranteed I was going to forget about this game in 2 months, but at the time I was thinking, this is going to be pretty rad. Now in early access on Steam, I've learned it kinda is pretty rad. Kyohu no Sekai is a lot of fun. A bright, vision-searing lot of fun. Kyohu no Sekai will have you throwing sticks and broken bottles at ghost panthers while your best friend shouts and waves at it to buy you enough time to smack it with a shovel. Kyohu no Sekai is a roguelite RPG reminiscent of DOS games I've never played or liked because I'm a zoomer with a walnut brain. It's got it all. Skill checks, resource management, turn-based combat, regular practice of good hygiene, all of which are mechanics I am unfamiliar with. Like a good roguelite should, it's World of Horror's variety that keeps dragging me back to this eye-torture rectangle. The sheer number of characters, modifiers, gods, enemies, events, city items, spells, allies, injuries, they all work together to make every run of Ramen Mystery different from the last run of Ramen Mystery. And this variety is all I'm going to talk about. World of Horror stars a cast of delinquents and weirdos who know something is amiss in the sleepy town of Shiokawa. And boy, is something amiss. Grown-ups just don't get it. But in their collective gut, these murder teens believe an ancient evil has awoken and is hell-bent on obliterating mankind. It's up to you, a steak knife, and a handful of disposable teenage girls to battle the old gods and thwart their plans to sneeze the earth into a fine orange powder. Each game is broken down into 5 different mysteries, and after solving all 5, ends in a sprint to the top of the town's lighthouse to seal off the ancient threat. Each run's 5 mysteries are drawn randomly from the game's handful of icky ongoings: parasitic eyeball worms, mermaid child butchery, interdimensional cult rituals, mystery meat ramen, your uncle. These mysteries usually have you searching different locations around town as you progress toward one of the story's predetermined endings. Each search will confront your teenager of choice with an event, usually either a skill check or combat. Each action costs time, and this white bar shows how much time you have to get all your actions in. It's all about using that time wisely. Enemies deal a fixed amount of damage, so it's a puzzle to minimize your losses while chipping the other guy down. Not always so cut and dry though. Some enemies are incorporeal and like to be translucent. As such, neither your tree branch nor your roundhouse will save you. Only the time-honored Japanese tradition of bowing and clapping in sequence can save you from the wrath of Takashi from 302, who tripped on a burger wrapper last week and fractured his neck in 4 different places. Take heed though, combat is hazardous and will maim you. Your anime babe of choice might well get in a scrape and spend the rest of the game adventuring through town with a shattered ribcage and a busted jaw. All of which are visible on your character portrait, by the way, so if Riona is your bag, check it out. Curing these ailments can be just as difficult as living with them, though, thanks to the cost of hospital treatment and the high potential the doctor might botch your surgery. That's the healthcare system for you! Thankfully, these only provide combat and skill debuffs instead of making your poor schoolgirl go into hypovolemic shock and blacking out from blood loss, so you can still go knocking on doors with a mangled hand and breaking into hospitals while hemorrhaging from a split jugular. It ain't over till you're in the ground, or in a padded room, where the earth explodes. One of the 3. While character stats, condition, and weapon choice influence how much you can squeeze into your time bar, combat is, at its core, knowing what it'll cost you, and then playing like a coward. If I can afford it, I prefer making my friend draw aggro while I try to weasel in jabs with a broken bottle. Otherwise, I play defensively until I can burst the body crab down in one turn with the broken bottle. A lot of times, though, I find myself running away, broken bottle tucked between my legs. You gotta evaluate the situation and figure which resource is holding you at gunpoint and cocking the hammer. Speaking of hammering, take a look at the menu. World of Horror starts with 5 different characters, each with unique backstories, starter items, quirks, and stats. This little weirdo is Kyrie, a girl who says she sees ghosts and doesn't realize everyone in second period English makes fun of her. She spends her weekends burning effigies in public parks at 2 a.m., actually believing the ritual will cancel school on Monday. She's got a good head on her shoulders and an arm fit for bottle swinging, but in true Poindexter fashion, she's not much of a lifter. She can only borrow 1 library book at a time. If she tries to carry 2, she'll pull a muscle. Kyrie's fine. I hear spellcasting is her forte, but I don't use spells, so... Anyway, starting out, you'll be playing as Aiko a lot, the protagonist of the game's second scenario. She's World of Horror's Hyper Chad character and a high school swim team star. A vicious backstroke is apparently a transferable skill, as Aiko pummels humans into small red heaps of meat with a carpenter's hammer like it's just a Tuesday to her. As a dex-based character, Aiko swings fast and swings often in combat. Generally, she's a tomboy who excels in wholesale slaughter, so off the bat, she's in the lead for tonight's top cutie. Downside though, she seems to have difficulty reading. Aiko suffers from terminal bimboism. Want to look for that first aid kit? She'll trip over it on the way in, and she still won't find it. Abnormally small brain considered, Aiko's pretty straightforward. Starting out, she's a lot of fun, and her playstyle affords you the flexibility to figure out the game's nuances while you revel in general tomboy things, like violence, wearing shoes, taking baths for too long. This charming fella is Haru, and when he's not sucking down cigarettes, he's lighting new ones. Haru is a 25-year-old career criminal with a crippling nicotine addiction who thinks it's okay to hang out inside high schools. On his days off, he enjoys convincing schoolgirls he needs them to come into the woods with him alone, or else the world is going to end at the hands of a giant cosmic spider. This works every time. As a getaway driver, Haru's dumb as a sack of bricks, but years of inertia drifting have shaped him into a smooth talker with contacts who's no stranger to brawling. Haru is a machine made of unadulterated, street-smart muscle. Muscle that quickly atrophies from nicotine withdrawal. You see, Haru's really good at losing fights if the dog running the convenience store runs out of 7 stars. Ziz. You need cigarettes or else you get a significant combat debuff? So does every salaryman in the country. Buddy, get in line. Clock's ticking, jerk. You can't keep refreshing store stock. Keep Haru supplied though, he kinda tears it up. As a grown man, his high strength means he can effectively attack with the big weapons without taking an hour to prep the swing. Even better if he's puffing. Nicotine Rush makes Haru even faster in combat. As a smoker, I can confirm menthols turn me into freaking turbo Pacquiao. I turn into those guys on meth outrunning cars. Nicotine addiction? Now that's a world of horror. Yet perhaps even more treacherous is the Kirby teen sensation Mizuki. Mizuki is learned in the science of telling people not to kill themselves, which happens surprisingly often in Shokawa. Her high charisma skill shines in her talent at recruiting small armies of friends willing to die for her. She just walks up to total strangers and says, "You're all coming with me to an abandoned mansion." And they just bend over and take it. Through the power of friendship, recruited buddies provide you with passive perks or stat boosts. Or if you like, you can throw these newfound groupies at otherworldly horrors accosting you. They will die for the greater good. The gentle impact of their limp bodies might just buy Mizuki enough time to figure out how to swing a baseball bat without fracturing a tibia, which is pretty standard considering 0 teen idols are decent people. Her above average cup size, however, comes at the cost of strength. Need help moving out? Sorry, Mizuki will collapse under the weight of your wardrobe and sprain her frail ankle. That's your problem, by the way. You're playing as her. Stop laughing. Koji Tagawa, however, is a plucky gumshoe whose biggest vice is running a conspiracy theory podcast for his audience of 12. You heard him right, the government's not kicking this globally visible cosmic anomaly under the rug. Ah, Jesus! Smile! That was the camera's flash attack. As an amateur journalist, Koji starts with a camera that can flash enemies in combat. Flash doesn't exactly tell you what it does, but after several beatings, I learned flashing boosts your hit chance for the rest of the fight. Cool stuff, huh? I save you the trouble of Googling it. Koji is keen-eyed, sharp-witted, able-bodied, and dick-fingered. Pretty good choice if you want to shoot guns or trip and fall a lot because of his garbage dexterity. There are also a handful of unlockable characters that I won't spoil. They're all pretty neat and have some interesting gimmicks. Alongside characters, different backgrounds can be selected to further augment your gameplay experience. Koji can start hunted by a cult, Haru can start with double money but no friends, Mizuki can just cut out the middleman and have everyone she recruits immediately die. Personally, my least favorite background is medical history. Do not be fooled by the name. You are not trained in medicine. No, you are made of porcelain. You know the one kid in high school who had a stomach that digested itself, an allergy to oxygen, and a season pass to the emergency room? The medical mystery who was never in class and was told she was going to die before 27? That's you now. Mental strain can send you home with a broken bone, every scrape can tear a muscle, your bones now collapse under the weight of your own skin, and your nerve endings explode when you breathe. But you do start with a bandage in your inventory. This means combat is even more punishing, and the runaway option starts to look more appealing. World of Horror also lets you select which deathless horror you would like to oppose. Each god provides a different, game-lasting debuff and unique event cards, further adding to that bottomless variety. My least favorite god is Katak Atorasu, the spider god, because spiders are gross and he doesn't let me run from fights. I do enjoy playing against Yolast, however. I don't know what his debuff means in English, but I think it's something about spells. But I don't use spells, so this game has spells. Usually at the cost of your mental health, you can harness the power of the otherworld and cast spells. Seal your wound shut, combust an enemy, grow more teeth, combust an enemy, rip someone's skin off, seal your wound shut, unseal someone else's wounds, and turn your bones into gold. All that power and then some, thanks to an entire mechanic I ignore. Initially a little steep and a lot cruel, World of Horror is a rewarding little game once you get the thrust. A few runs as Ico and you'll start to understand what's a good idea and what will immediately kill you. Resources will get easier to balance, and after a while you'll be hooked trying to pop those unlockables. For the fun I've gotten out of World of Horror so far, I think it's worth the price tag. Give it a look. The demo's free, and there are plenty of Let's Plays that show you actual gameplay and not 12 minutes of jokes. Anyway, the info that actually matters. Who was best girl? Tonight's top cutie is Kana from next door. She's outgoing, adventurous, calls me dude, and wears a funky shirt. She has your back in a pinch, owns at Smash Bros, and buys you your favorite cola when you hang out. No human is perfect, however. Kana always stiffs you with bus fare and has a tendency to elbow you way too hard after a joke. Detrimentally, however, Kana can also be unapologetically stupid and unyieldingly wrong. All in all, an easy A- grade from your boy Chaz. As for the game, I can comfortably give World of Horror 23 Dokuro marks, with an extra 2 Dokuro marks for excessive cruelty toward teenagers. A total of 25 Dokuro marks. Not bad.